Hey, what's up everybody? TechChucker here, and today I've got a review for you of the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon ANTRAX and SCUMBUG. Now, I had this pre-ordered on NECA Online's shop, and I have to say, I'm glad that I didn't waste the time trying to hunt these guys out, because I would have really been disappointed if I didn't find them. This set, even just in the box, looks absolutely stunning. Now, I have noticed that SCUMBUG's little antenna is broken off, so hopefully I can either fix that or return it and get a new one. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a closer look. Here they are out of the packaging, and speaking of the packaging, I gotta say, NECA, I'm glad you're not doing the twisty ties anymore, but holy crap, there's so many of these little, like, whatever the heck these things are. There's so many. It took me like 10 minutes just to take these guys out of the package. I'm not complaining, but it still didn't protect him from his antenna coming off. I had to glue that on. It's super glued. Guaranteed it's not going to last through the whole review. It's going to fall off. But let's talk about how these things are sculpted and painted, because as always, NECA has just done a spectacular job with these things. I mean, the paint apps on their faces alone, especially SCUMBUG's with his eyes, he's got the little veins that are coming into his eyes. They bulge out, which is just absolutely stunning. He's got so many different colors. Yeah, he wants to fall, and as soon as he falls, that's going to fall off. But I can't get over the stunning colors. This is just so cool. I love the arms. He's got, ANTRAX has the 4 arms here. There are some reused parts, like these feet, I believe are both, we've seen those feet before. This foot looks to be pretty well unique. I don't think we've seen that before. This is just so good. I love the colors. I think SCUMBUG, as far as the paint apps, is stepping up a little bit more than ANTRAX, but still, they're both just amazing. Look at this shell-like thing, his beetle back with his wings folded up. I love this. And then this backpack is just so cool. And here's a feature that I absolutely love. This hose. So the hoses are fairly pliable, so you don't have to worry too much about them. But what's really awesome, you can pop that off and pop it back on to the other side. So if you want him holding it, his little weapon on this side, I mean, that alone is just an amazing feature that I'm just so happy that NECA did that. It's really cool. That is like, they're thinking collectors, because you never know. If you want to display the figure facing one way or facing the other, you need it to be able to be in both hands, which is awesome. And just the sculpt on here, the paint, the panel lining, all of it is very cleanly done. I can't complain at all about the way that these guys look. And look at this. ANTRAX, he's got the, what is this? The thorax. And look at these little flaps. Everything is painted. I'm just so impressed with this. They paint the stuff on their backs. Every bit of it is painted. For those that are complaining about the price point on these things, it's not a bad price point. I mean, if you're paying 50, 60, 70 bucks for this, that's about 35 bucks each. Maybe even 40 bucks if you had to pay the shipping. 40 bucks each for the paint. Anyway, let's get on with the rest of this. Let's go ahead and measure these guys up to see just how tall they are. ANTRAX is coming in at, what is that? Just under 7 inches tall. And then SCUMBUG is going to be, at the top of his head, it's probably about 5.5 inches. Yeah, I'd say 5.5, and then 6 up to the top of his antenna. Let's go ahead and throw a few other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures in here for some size comparison. We got Bebop, and then we've got Shredder in here, and then we've got Leonardo to throw in there. And then last but not least, let's just see how Deadpool will fare standing in with these guys. And of course, the Marvel Legends, considerably taller, but still kind of fun to do that. Let's check the articulation on these two. We'll start with ANTRAX, and his head is on what I believe to be a double ball peg, and he can look way up. That is really good. Looking down, not as much. can't really look down much at all. That's a little bit of a bummer since he's a tall figure. Looking side to side, he can look side to side really nicely. And then he's got some really good tilt on that neck as well. In the shoulders, which he has 4 shoulders, he's got a ball hinge, pretty standard. He can get his arms out about that far. I'll probably only do 1 arm just because they all have the same articulation. Can rotate, which is great. There is an upper bicep swivel. Hit these with, hit everything with some heat. But that will swivel. There's nothing really getting in the way of that. And then there's double jointed elbows. Those should bend just about in half, which is great. And then in the wrist, he's got that standard peg and hinge, and there's not really anything getting in the way of that. In the torso, he's got that double ball peg. At least I'm pretty sure it's a double ball peg. He can crunch forward only about that far. He can crunch back or arches back about that far. He can swivel, but it does catch on those shoulders, so he's not really going too far. But as you start working this thing, he can really get kind of crunching in different ways, which is nice. The belt doesn't get in the way of that. It's attached up here, and then it kind of floats down here, but that keeps it in place, which is nice. I believe there is a waist swivel, but mine will not break, and I'm not going to force it. I'll have to check out some other reviews to see, does it actually swivel. Down in the hips, he's got T-jointed ball joints, and if you get the arms out of the way, he can basically do the splits, which is nice. He can kick forward. This little skirt is a little harder because it's glued way up here, so that's gonna kind of prevent him from moving forward a lot. He can kick back about that far, not a lot, but it's still enough. He has a good swivel at that hip, and then it was a good swivel. Yeah, that should just pop back on. Well, that's embarrassing. Okay, double jointed knees. Those, now I'm worried that thing's gonna fall off. It goes almost 90. I think it goes a little bit further. This thing's getting in the way, but it's not too bad. Very tight. And then down in the ankles, he's got that hinge. He can get his foot back about that far. That's not too bad. And then he can get his foot forward a decent amount. That's not too bad. He's got a different boot on this side, so he can get his foot back that far and forward that far, which is really good. Both have an ankle rocker that works decent enough. And we're not quite done yet because these little mandibles also swivel. It's just like a peg, and those will move around, which is really cool. I think that's awesome. His mouth doesn't open, but that's okay. I think with that grimace look, it just looks really cool that way. And then back here, this thorax will move around. I think it's just on a ball peg, but that's really cool that will move around. So overall, his articulation, pretty darn freaking awesome. We're just gonna hope that we don't break this off again, but whatever. So his head is on I believe a ball peg. He doesn't have much range for moving up. He can get his head down about that far, which isn't very much. He can move side to side, which actually is really good. And then he's got really nice tilt, which I really dig that a lot. Down in the shoulders, he's got a ball hinge, and he's got pretty good range moving his shoulder up. He can swivel. Just be aware that this tube is going to get in the way of that. He has an upper bicep swivel, and that swivels pretty nicely. He's got double jointed elbows. Those work really good. And then in the wrist, he's got that peg and hinge, and those work pretty nicely. They are getting a little bit small. Like this one, it's starting to peel open just a little bit, so be careful with that. Hit it with heat. Down in the torso, he's got probably a double ball peg is my guess. He can't really crunch forward all that much. He can't really arch back much because of his little, shell wings things, but he can swivel, and he can swivel at the waist as well. But it's kind of redundant just because it's not a very big piece, so whatever. In the hips, he's got T-jointed ball joints. Those work pretty good. He does the splits. He can kick forward only that far. That's a bummer. He can only kick back that far, which is almost nothing. And then he does have a swivel. Hopefully his leg won't fall off. He's got double jointed knees, and these are a little hard to activate, but if you can, they'll definitely go over 90 degrees. So just this gets in the way, and I really don't want to break it. In the ankles, he's got a hinge, goes back that far, which is great. He can get his foot forward about that far, and he can do the ankle rocker. That works good. Both of them do basically the same. Oh, I almost forgot. His mouth is articulated. Doesn't go a lot, but you know, it's enough to get a little bit of extra out of that, which is very nice. Last but certainly not least, the accessories. And the one thing that I am a little disappointed with is we didn't get any extra hands. ANTRAX, he comes with 4 hands. They're all weapon holding hands, which is fine. Except I would like some fist hands. A fist hand, a pointer finger hand, something like that. Same with Scumbug. He comes with no extra hands. And since he's got this one purple hand with the claws, it would be great to get another one where he's either punching or doing something else. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. The other accessories that we get this amazing looking bat. Let's see if we can get this to focus. This thing just looks absolutely amazing. I love how this turned out. The paint apps are just delightful, we'll say. And these little, you know, what are they? The spikes, they're a little bit sharp. I just love it. And even on the end, you can see, maybe you can see, there's a little wood grain. That is so cool. And then we also get this axe. It's a giant battle axe for ANTRAX. It's got some nice paint on it. It definitely feels hollow. So they saved on some weight, saved on some plastic. I'm completely fine with that. I got a little bit of red paint on there. I don't know if that's supposed to be there or not, but I'm just going to pretend that's blood. And then we get this little sword, which is also really cool because it's got the little spikes on here. And this just looks really cool. I really like that. We also get a dagger, and that is painted really nicely. I love the handle with the little spiraling. And then if you can see that little skull on the end, that is awesome. And it's painted on both sides, which is super cool. This little dagger just is awesome. We're not done yet though. Comes with this. It looks kind of like a mandible or I don't know. I'm going to get all this stuff wrong, but this is kind of cool. It's painted nice. I mean, it'll fit in his hand, which is good. Not sure that I'm going to really display him with it, but it's fun to have these things. And then we get these 3 little beetles. They're painted okay. I mean, well, maybe better than okay. The little undersides are painted yellow, which is cool. Each one, you know, looks good. They'll just go up on the display and, you know, sit there forever. But the last thing that is super cool is this little device. And someone in the comments, you know, in the like 3 views that I get on this, because I'm way late on it, is going to tell me exactly what this is and what episode it's from. I don't remember. It looks amazing. I love the details on here. The paintwork just looks so cool. I like these kind of accessories. They look so cool, and NECA just executes them so well. So I'm really pleased to have this. I'm very pleased to have this set. It is probably one of my favorite sets, especially Scumbug. He just looks so incredible. So this is definitely a must-have set. You have to get this one. If you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, this is a set that you really can't pass up just because it looks so good. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, all that jazz, and I will see you in the next video.